Pagbati Pilipinas, welcome to ALAB Analysis. Ako po si Inday, Espina-Varona. March 7, 2021, 9 activists killed, 6 arrested. The context, this happened very shortly after Rodrigo Duterte, President of the Philippine Republic, ordered another kill for his military and police to chase after activists. Bakit nangyayari ito? We're going to have 2 lawyers today who have both wisdom to explain the context and the facts on the ground. Not only the killings, but also the fact that the police and the military refused to release the bodies of the people they had killed. Makakasama natin sa episode na ito si Atty. Jasmin Regino ng Commission on Human Rights at si Atty. Cortez, the Secretary General of the National Union of People's Lawyers, who was on the ground with other rights defenders and the families of the 4 people slain whose bodies were being held by law enforcers. Maalab na pagbati, Atty. Ray, Atty. Jasmin.
Alab din na pagbati po sa inyo, Ma'am Inday.
Lahat.
First, kay Atty. Ray, diretso. March 7, alam na natin, na-hold yung mga katawan ng ilan dito sa mga biktima. Is this the first time or has there been a precedent of bodies being held for whatever reason?
Naging practice na yan, yung ganyan na kalakaran na una ipinagkakait na makita ng mga pamilya, pangalawa ay ayaw ibigay. Siguro isang dyan, same funeral parlor kasi yung Baras 5. So sobrang tagal talaga yon bago nila i-release. Una-una ayaw ipakita. Andyan yung hinahayaan yung harassment ng families. Kagaya kahapon, hindi lang yung funeral personnel yung nandun, kundi yung mga pulis at mga sundalo, well-armed yan, naka-uniforme. Alam mo naman, yung kamag-anak nila, pinatay ng tao na gano'n ang suot. Diba? Tapos ay nandun sila na nakapaligid. So yung trauma. Andun din yung sa Batangas, if you remember that. Inilibing. Diba? Ayaw ibigay, inilibing. Ang prominent dyan, of course, kay Randall Echanis at saka kay Baby River. Ano yung dahilan? Yung sa Baras, yung sa Batangas, hindi ko makita ng rhyme and reason kung bakit. Yung kay Randall Echanis at saka kay Baby River, obviously they're trying to control the narratives. Sa tingin namin, kaya nila hinuhold at kinukuha ay hindi pa nila napatahi yung istorya na gusto nilang sabihin. May backlash sa kanila yung pamamaraan na ginagawa nila.
First things first, this is for both Atty. Jasmin and Atty. Ray. Ano ba ang karapatan ng mga pamilya na namatayan or the bereaved or the heirs of people slain in violent circumstances? Ano yung karapatan ng mga pamilya nila?
Siyempre po yung first and foremost is yung access to justice. Di ho ba? That is the first para maging accountable kung sino man po yung mga perpetrador, sino yung gumawa ng pagpatay na ito. And of course, like yung sinabi ni Atty. Ray kanina, yung makuha ng mabilisan yung labi ng kanilang kamag-anakan. Pero sa nangyayari ho kasi, parang sabi nga, there is no rhyme and reason, quoting Atty. Ray, na i-hold yung labi ng mga patay. So dapat mabilisan, nandun na yung mga kamag-anak, ano pang mga verification ang gusto nila. Okay. So yun po ang iniimbestiga din ng commission. So meron bang protocol itong PNP natin? Meron ba silang mga laws? Kasi dumadami na nga ho, aside from yung kay Echanis, kay Randy, inimbestigahan din po ng commission. Kasi nag-complain pumunta ho yung pamilya dito sa amin na ang tagal bago ni-release yung remains ni Randy. And then we also have one in Region 4A as well. Allegedly, an NPA member na eto na, meron ng special power of attorney ang karapatan to get the body traveling from the south para kunin, and yet they do not want to honor it. Yung mga ganun po. So we are into it already, investigating all these instances po.
Okay, briefly before Attorney Ray, yung kay Randall, andun na yung asawa, completely
Opo.
document, pinahirapan pa, di ba? Parang
Opo.
ganun. Okay. Attorney Ray?
Opo. Yung karapatan talaga is ng pamilya once namatayan. Actually, whatever reason is to get access dun sa katawan. So walang reason. Kahit na under investigation na yan, karapatan na nila na makita. In fact, the very competent persons to identify yung cadaver, kasi initial yun initial sa investigation is to establish the identity ng namatay. And the more competent na gagawa niyan ay yung pamilya. So dapat papapasukin at pa-identify. Ngayon, kung let's say may police investigation, as soon as matapos yung investigation, dapat i-release na. Ang kalakaran sa atin, pagdating sa punerarya, ini-imbalsamuhan na yan, may medico-legal, para i-state lang yung cause of death at saka time of death, date of death. Tapos na yun. Ang process nila, kahit na ano pang klaseng krimen yan, siguro in 24 hours, tapos na yan, including the embalming. In fact, by Monday, embalmed na yung itong sa Antipolo, yung anim Pero ayaw pa rin nilang ipakita sa kamag-anak na tayo i-release. Nung Monday pa lang, wala nang reason to hold them. As long as mabayaran mo yung requirements ng funeral parlor, ma-identify mo yung body, ipakita mo yung requirements showing that you are the nearest relative, yun na yun. Pero yun na, ang nakakalungkot, despite compliance, una-una, hindi nila kagad binigyan ng access dun sa katawan. Pangalawa ay dinelay nila yung pagre-release.
Okay, additional question for Attorney Ray. Because I saw like law enforcers saying na kasi merong offer naman yung mga LGUs for burial. What does this have to do? Kasi parang binayaran na rin naman yata ng pamilya, ng karapatan, whoever paid for it. The funeral expenses had been paid for. Wow. What was this thing about LGU officials? Did anybody talk to the LGU officials to confirm if they had a hand in the holding of these bodies?
Yun yung talagang nagpa-komplika pa sa kalagayan. Dahil bigyan siguro natin ng context, especially yung taga-Tanay, yung magpinsan na De La Cruz, mga dumagat. By I think Sunday or early morning ng Monday, pumunta na sila sa CIP sa tulong na kanilang tribal chieftain. Ang sabi ng NCIP sa kanila, huwag kayo dito pumunta kayo sa LGU. So pumunta sila sa LGU. Tinulungan naman sila sa ibang requirements, kaya lang yung iba pang tulong will take time. At may mga civic organization na tumulong na mas mabilis. Kaya nadala sila sa Antipolo by Tuesday. Habang wala pang pasabi galing sa LGU, nandun na sa Antipolo. By Wednesday morning, pumunta sila sa Tanay Police Station kasi kailangan daw yun for the release of the body. At sabi sa Tanay, okay na daw. Yung sergeant na nandoon sa desk, in presence ng mga tumutulong sa kamag-anak, tumawag sa punerarya, pwede niyo nang i-release yan. In fact, on that basis, inayos na yung release. Ang kailangan na lang ay bayaran. And dahil nag-ambag-ambag ang maraming tao, nabayaran nila yan. And the bodies were due for release ng afternoon ng Wednesday. Yung dalawa, yung taga Montalban, tumulong ang LGU dun sa dalawang napatay sa Puray. So, nailabas na yan earlier. Pero yung apat na natira, yung sa Kasiglahan Village at saka yung dalawang taga-Tanay ay naiwan. Ngayon, ang problema dito, ang sinasabi ng punerarya kung bakit ayaw nilang i-release ay pinapatigil daw ni Mayor ng Tanay. So yun, dahil gusto niyang bayaran.
Did anybody confirm?
Oh, I confronted yung staff niya nung nandun kahapon. Sabi wala daw silang sinasabing gano'n. Pero yun ang dahilan kung bakit ayaw i-release. In fact, pinadlock sila sa loob from 7 p.m. until 11. Ang point dun is, bayad na siya noong Wednesday, submitted all the requirements. So why hold pa? Dahil tayin mo yung bigay ng LGU na tulong. Hindi ba, imbis na tulong yun, lalo nagpahirap dun sa pamilya. If ever na may ganong utos galing sa mayor. Pero yun ang pinangahawagan ng mga pamilya ng biktima dahil yun ang sabi sa kanila ng punerarya, bakit ayaw i-release yung katawan. So it's up for the mayor siguro kung ano man yung sabihin niya, pero yun ang pagkakabanggit, ayun ang dahilan kung bakit hindi i-release ng Miyerkules pa lamang.
Okay. Turn Jazz, I suppose you'll be asking LGUs also as you continue to probe these rather outrageous episodes.
May binigay hong raw information yung aking mga staff. Yun nga yung yung Tanay LGU was actually paying daw yung funeral expenses. So I asked the staff, totoo ba ito? Totoo naman po kasi nakausap daw nila yung MSWDO. Nagdadaw ho ako because these are just raw information. I have not yet seen the report of our people on the ground. What I have now is the initial report of Region 4A, pero yung sa staff ko, wala pa ho. So they just report to me. So actually, nag-usap pa daw po si Mayor at saka yung sa PNP because PNP was asking clearance. So ang sinabi ni Mayor ay, bakit tayo magka-clearance pa? Hindi naman tayo korte. Kung okay na, i-release na yung mga yan. Yun ang ni-report po sa akin ng aking mga staff. Pinapa-release naman kaagad-agad ni Mayor. So, yung nasabi ho ni Attorney Ray, ipapa-validate ko po sa staff on the ground at para ma-confirm ho natin kung totoo ba ito o hindi na pinapa-hold ni Mayor.
Sige. Attorney Jazz, the CHR, you had people on the ground going there to intervene, no? Which I suppose really helped a lot also, no? Kasi government body, medyo mahirap rin, itapera rin yan, di ba? Tell us, what did your staff say? Hinold ba talaga? Kasi aside from the bodies being held, which is an outrage in itself, there was also there were also reports, including by a lot of media who were there, that not only were the bodies being held, the families and the initial rights workers who were there were not allowed to leave. Parang hinarang na yung ingress-egress at a certain point 2 nights ago. What did your staff say, Attorney?
Ang sinabi sa akin, so yung ano lang po yung actual report na sinabi sa akin is ang funeral parlor owner requested, I think, the help of the PNP in the area because parang nagkakagulo na. So pinapadlock yung gate daw. And so anybody who are inside, pwede naman daw kunin yung susi. So kunwari, kung nasa loob ka, lalabas ako, pwede mong kunin. But we have yet to get the side of those who were inside kasi they were not able to interview po them. Kausap po namin kahapon, ako kay Jigs of Karapatan na kung pwede, kausapin din po namin yung mga bereaved families to get really what happened. Kasi ang nangyayari po, mga side lang po muna ng kapulisan at saka nung funeral parlor. And aside from yung mga nakikita nilang actual, I am not on the ground. So nagre-rely lang ho ako dun sa mga nire-report nila sa akin. Kaya I have so many questions on them. Like ang dami hong namatay, bakit itong dalawa dito sa Region 4A na release? Bakit ito hino-hold? So yung mga ganun pong mga tanong. But we will give you an update on the matter. So I really apologize. I cannot give you a blow-by-blow detail hanggang hindi pa ho nagre-report. As we speak right now, nandun ho yung ating mga investigador to go to the scene of the crime.
Okay. Attorney Ray, hindi binigay ang katawan. Alam na natin yan. That's the root of the problem there. Pero from your end, because NUPL is standing as legal counsel of the families, ano ba? Hindi rin sila pinalabas? Or was there a confusion there?
Ganito po yung pangyayari. We've been monitoring yung situation since Monday. May tumutulong na dun sa families. Kasi ang purpose ng families kung bakit sila pumunta dun is to retrieve na kasi may ghost signal na and everything. Andun na rin yung karo ng funeraria para kunin yung mga bangkay. Then, all of a sudden, late afternoon, sabi hindi pwede dahil nga daw may utos si Mayor. Then by 7 o'clock, kinandado yung gate. And kailangan i-describe yung place. Ano yan? Eskinita yan, hindi yan main highway. Walang katao-tao ng 7 o'clock. Until 10 o'clock, walang katao-tao dyan. So, yung sinasabi na dumadaming tao, hindi po totoo yun dahil walang katao-tao. Ano yan? It's a residential area na several meters away from the main highway. It was only, I think, around 10 or 11 nag-suggest kami to send out an alert and invite mga media practitioners. It's only then na pumunta yung mga media at around 10 or 11 o'clock. So yung sinasabi nila na doon, hindi totoo yun. Ano? And yung sinasabi na pwedeng kunin anytime, imposible yun. Kasi inside the funeral funeral homes ay mga well-armed na police. Hindi ito yung naka-sidearm at yung ordinary na naka-battle uniform in full battle gear with automatic rifles.
Just to get this clear, the first time pagpunta ng pamilya, pagpunta ng mga paralegal or lawyers who were helping them, armado na, nandun na. Armado na ang mga pulis at sundalo.
Since Monday, since the first time that they were there, andun yung presence. Tapos hindi lang pulis yan, pulis na nakapronta dyan. Pero maraming from the 2nd Infantry Division. In fact, hindi sila nakikipag-deal doon sa mga tao, pero they were there from the 2nd Infantry Division sa tansya namin, from sa kanilang intelligence unit. So, ganun po yun. And when I arrived there around 10 o'clock siguro the following morning, March 11, nakita ko na si taga-CHR and Atty. Panguban, nakikipag-negotiate with Major Foronda, who is from Tanay Police. Sabi niya, utos daw na may-ari yan. Wala daw silang control doon. Pero when we
may-ari ng punerarya? May-ari ng punerarya? Nag-utos sa pulis?
Oo.
Okay.
So yun. Nung pumunta kami doon, wala daw silang control. Pero siya yung nag-uutos sa pulis na buksan niya and they have the keys. Aside dun sa owner, may keys yung mga pulis na kagwalya. Pero nung siguro nabigla siya may kasama siyang taga-CHR at saka lawyer, huwag kayo magbukas niyan. So umatras yung isa, pinabuksan doon sa representative ng owners. So ganun po yung nangyari kahapon. Yung reason nila, IATF, etc., imposible yun. Kasi kung hindi nila pinadlock yun, walang nag-converge ng mga tao dun sa harapan ng punerarya. Kasi aalis na yung mga tao kasi gabi na eh. It was 7 o'clock, madilim. Wala silang tutulugan doon. Paalis na sila pero pinadlock yung lugar. Kaya napilito na mag-stay. They stayed there without food and water. 7 until 11. We have to haggle. Kailangan namin magsigawan para lang sila makalabas.
Okay. Paano, for both of you, Atty. Jazz, Atty. Ray, paano na-break yung deadlock? Ano yung mga factors that broke this deadlock?
Wala mo namin hinagel without going through yung i-release o hindi, ay buksan mo na yung gate at palabasin. So yun, pumasok kami together with Major Foronda, so trying to explain yung side ni Mayor. Ang gusto ni Major Foronda ay maghintay pa dahil darating na daw ang tao ni Mayor. So sabi namin maghihintay, arbitrary detention na yan. Arbitrary detention na yan, sabi namin, paghihintay mo pa, hahabaan mo pa. Nagkaroon ng gitgitan doon at iginit talaga ng mga lawyers. Iginit ng mga lawyers na buksan na. wala nang nagawa si Major Coronda kundi buksan at palabasin yung mga taong nandun sa loob. It's arbitrary detention already. At hindi pwedeng sabihin na walang kinalaman ng pulis kasi kung talagang pulis sila, di binuksan na nila earlier evening pa lang. Diba? Alam nila na bawal yun na i-detain yun. So why allow it na mga kapulisan? So kailangan talaga kita nito from the very end.
So just before Attorney Jazz answers, klaruin natin. The police or authorities there were saying it was the mayor, but Attorney Jazz, you told us earlier, based on the
raw
region,
information.
raw information from the region, that the mayor had actually told the cops to what are we waiting for? That should be released. Tama ba yan? Okay. So, what from the raw reports that you received do you think finally resolved this situation?
Ang nakita ko lang po at based doon sa mga reports na na-receive po media, yung nag-broker ang CHR, I mean the special investigators on the ground, meaning they facilitated a dialogue sana para hindi na magkagulo yung may mga sigawan. Ang sinasabi sa akin is parang may mga sigawan na po kasi. So sabi ko, magandang nandyan kayo at sa narinig ko din kay Attorney Ray kanina nung nakitang may CHR, parang more or less yung ating kapulisan po. It really pays na nandun ng isang government agency conducting investigation. And it's also good na narinig ko from the horse's mouth yung sinasabi ni Attorney Ray, if you could just give us also regarding all these allegations so that we could really come up with an evidence-based investigation po, impartial investigation. Kasi ngayon, naririnig ko ho yung sinasabi ni Attorney Ray na hindi ko nakuha on the ground sa ating mga staff. And considering he was there on the ground as well, and all this hula-balo, yung mga nagkaroon po ng issue kahapon nga. So kung pwede po, Attorney Ray, if you could give us your affidavits para maging part po ng records of the case namin at para magkaroon po kami ng masusing investigasyon sa mga kasong ito. Kasi isa ho yun sa isang tinitingnan natin, like yung nagiging practice na ho kasi yung nandyan yung namatay tapos ang dami-dami pang hinihingi, hold pa yung mga remains, yung mga labi. So aside from the conduct of investigation, I think the Commission on Human Rights also could come up with policy recommendation to our security sector. What are really the policies in place as regards the remains of these dead people?
Definitely po. In fact, nagpalitan kami ng number ng kanilang investigator kahapon, and we will provide them with all the documents required, and kahit yung from the region sa regional CHR, nakausap din namin kahapon, they wanted to interview yung mga families, but we told them, it was around 6 o'clock, pagod na yan, hindi na nakatulog yan, baka hindi naman advisable na mag-interview ng ganong oras, considering yung psychological frame up na yung frame ng mga tao. So sabi namin, we will cooperate. I gave them the numbers. Yung kailangan nila, we can make arrangements for it. Pero sabi ko sila, not today, not now, habang kiniklaim, huwag naman natin isama yun. No? Pero definitely, we're coordinating karapatan at tutulong kami dito.
Salamat.
Okay, Attorney Jazz, this isn't just the case. I mean, even in non-laban, quote-unquote, drug war-related cases, I think families have had problems, aside from raising the funds to pay the funeral parlor, nahirapan rin yata dun sa pag-claim ng mga katawan.
Ang nangyari naman, base dun sa datos po namin dito sa commission, ang nakita ho namin sa mga EJK victims ho natin ay parang pagkapatay nila, there's a certain funeral parlor na kaagad dinadala yung mga labi. At alam naman ho natin na walang pera itong pamilya ng biktima dahil may kamahalan po yung sinisingil ng puneraryang yon. Bakit palagi na pag may namatay, doon sa punerarya nilalagay yung mga labi at nahihirapan po yung pamilya kasi ang laki ho ng sinisingil. Yung isa ho,
Okay.
yan sa tinitingnan ng commission.
Oh, one of the things that struck me with the reports there was that the police or the authorities, kasi alam na natin, no, may sundalo, hindi lang police doon, wanted to talk one-on-one with the families. Did you get this same information, Attorney Jazz, Attorney Ray? And ano yung does the police or do the authorities have the power to force these families for their one-on-one conversations that they want?
Kung ako yung tatanungin nyo, yung the term force itself, then definitely there's already a violation. Nasa sa pamilya kung gusto nilang magipag-usap o hindi. Pero siguro, kung sa kapulisan gusto lang nila matapos na or what, ang ko naman, nandyan yung mga abogado, and they are represented by lawyers. Bakit? I-one-on-one mo. Yung ganun. So, ang ginawa na lang ng taga-CHR, yung mga staff natin, o sige, kung gusto nyong mag-usap ng one-on-one, dapat nandun ang CHR. Pero hindi po nagkaganon
Okay.
Hindi natuloy po yun.
Attorney Ray, tama ba yan? Ayaw ng abogado, gusto one-on-one ang pamilya?
Actually, yun po yung naging problema namin kahapon. Ano? Hinihintay namin dumating yung DPWH para kausapin sila Parang lahat ng ahensya gustong kumausap sa kanya. Una, yung sa police, yung okay na yon. Actually, nire-release na ng punerarya. Kinuha na yung requirements and all, biglang pasok ang NCIP. Hindi daw pwedeng i-release without their clearance. So, ngayon natin anong mandate mo?
Teka muna, is there a law that says the NCIP must sign off on any corpse?
No, they have not. Ang kanila is tumulong sa IP, pero not in this particular incident. Ganitong klaseng kaso. So, asan ang mandate mo to say na hindi i-release without your clearance?
Mm-hmm.
He even called PAO. Parang gustong kumuha ng PAO to represent. So, we cautioned yung PAO. Remember, sabi namin sa PAO, yung guidelines, so pag may department council, you cannot enter. So, umatras yung PAO. So, doon ka, very insistent talagang you have to really assert. Then, nagbigay na kami ng dokumento and all. Okay na nung una. Ang usapan namin with NCIP, sige, before the release, we'll allow you access dun sa immediate family. Okay na yon. Then, bumalik. Sabi daw sa national office, hindi papayagan. So, meron na namang discussion. So, naglalagay sila ng mga discussions na ganyan. Then, after na-resolve namin yung sa NCIP, yung LGU naman. No, the problem really doon sa gusto nila pagkausap. Tuwing lalapit sila, may kasama silang pulis na nakabaril. Sabi namin, bakit kailangan may pulis na nakabaril? Ang tumatay dyan ay ganyan ang uniforme at ganyan ang hawak na baril. So we really don't know why. Tapos, nung kumausap yung kanilang, I think, provincial or regional NCIP, ang sinasabi sila daw yung kanilang council, sabi, hindi kayo council. Wala yan sa IRR nyo, wala yan sa IPRA, kayong council. Besides, pumunta sila ng Lunes NCIP, tinuro sila sa LG, why now? Bakit ngayon na nagka-interest ang NCIP? Bakit? Dahil nakikita nila yung possibility na mahalungkat yung katotohanan at yung possibility mag-file ng kaso yung mga kamag-anak. That's why they came in to prevent yung makuha nila yung kamag-anak to change the narrative ng pangyayari. Sa tingin ko yung dahilan. Yung NCIP was very persistent until 6 o'clock ng gabi, paulit-ulit yan. Kaya, hindi pwedeng malumanay na nausapan.
Okay.
Kaya masyado na silang aggressive for that. Di kasama sila mga sundalo. Hindi ito yung parang nandun ka sa loob ng courtroom. Nandito yung usap kayo, may mga sundalo na naka-armalite at naka-sidearms ng mga pulis.
Now, speaking of assertion, sinabi mong, bandang uli, very clear naman, na very, very assertive na yung lawyers. Ang claim ni Antonio Parlade ay the karapatan was holding the cops and soldiers and the funeral staff and people hostage. Were trying to block their coming out. Exactly what happened. Were people outside blocking people inside.
Obviously, mukhang delusional si General Parlade. In the first place, around 22 or 23 na kamag-anak and paralegals. Meron dito yung mga matatanda, may sakit. Ang nasa loob, ito yung naka-uniforme, mga 20 police at saka sundalo in full battle gear. Hindi pa kasama dyan yung nasa civilian clothes. Yun yung sitwasyon bago pinadlock at saka pinadlock. Sa labas, merong mga military trucks na nakaparada doon sa may iskinita lang yan, isang sasakyan lang yung kasya. So yung sa bukana may isa, then sa kasunod niya may isa ulit. So obviously, nag-deploy sila siguro baka isang platoon or more na mga sundalo sa loob. So how can 23 individuals detain yung ganung karaming nag-armas na mga sundalo na well-armed na soldiers? Kasi merong contingent from the Antipolo Police, may contingent sa Tanay, may contingent from the 2nd Infantry Division. So ilan na yan? So imposible yung sinasabi ni General Parlade na lang yan, tear gas lang yan, ubus na. So delusional o talagang ganun na siya kasinungaling sa kanyang akala niya maniniwala ang lahat sa kanyang ganyang klase ng propaganda.
Okay. Attorney Jazz, what's your takeaway? Meron bang moves ang CHR? Is there any wisdom to forging, let's say, new agreements with the AFP or the armed forces?
Meron ho kami ngayon, later this afternoon, we will sign a memorandum of understanding with the AFP Human Rights Affairs Office. This is more on the education, advocacy, kasi meron hong kami, yung intensified training sa ating security, hindi lang yung sa AFP, the whole security sector on human rights. Dapat siguro paigtingan natin yung mga human rights-based approach kasi sa mga nangyayari po. So aside from the training, advocacy, also yung complaint system ho namin, yung exchange of notes, kasi yung verification, kasi may mga hinihingi kaming dokumento sa kanila na hindi kami nabibigyan, yung mga ganun po. So we're coming up with a system.
That's a pattern also, right? From all the non-laban drug war cases. Okay, siguro for context lang dyan, no? It took a unanimous Supreme Court decision. I think that was to a case filed by private lawyers of families of non-laban.
Flag. Center law.
For flag and center law for the PNP to release. No? And even before that, they had to release these documents. Even the OSG was weighing in na ayaw. No? Parang pumasok yung Office of the Solicitor General. So when you say that laws and agreements, I think we go back to what Attorney Ray said earlier, no matter what the laws, the agreements, it's assertion that matters, because the laws will sit there and die there unless people assert the rights under the law. Attorney Ray, pwede rin si Attorney Just sumagot nito. These March 7 killings happened, 2 days after Rodrigo Duterte, the president of the Philippine Republic, ordered another kill for activists. No, of course, our government officials say para lang yan sa mga armado, but now the secretary himself has said enough. There's evidence that shows that these really were legal activists. Can you run us through the specifics of this? Were they really non-laban? Were they armed? Who were they exactly?
Alam mo, ang nakakapangilabot ay when we talk to the families of the victims and witnesses, para kaming nakinig sa testimonya ng mga biktima ng drug war. And just to, siguro, gusto ko lang din banggitin na yung Kasiglan Village at saka yung Sitio Puray na operation was conducted under the command of Lito Patay. Lito Papay is the notorious police, galing yan sa Davao na nag-operate sa Caloocan doon sa height ng drug war at ang daming pinatay. Ito yung narrative. Iisa yan. At least dito sa Montalban. Pumasok, nilabas lahat ng kamag-anak. Bago nilabas, nakita nila yung kamag-anak nila na nakadapa at nakalagay yung kamay sa likod ng ulo. Inilabas lahat sila. Nung wala ng tao sa loob, may sumigaw na ng laban at saka may putok. So sa tingin namin, ganoon din kay Manny at doon sa mag-asawang evangelista na yata yun sa Batangas at dito rin sa Tanay na ganoon din ang narrative. Pumasok, pinalabas lahat, pinatay. Hindi hindi mga armado, mga aktivista to, si Kapulong at saka si Kapuroy, yung namatay sa Tanay, ay mga active na community leaders. Especially yan sa mga laban sa mga dam at sa pagprotekta sa kanilang ancestral domain. Markado yan. Ganun din yung sa Montalban, of course, si Manny, at saka yung sa Batangas, at even yung mga hinuli sa Laguna. So malinaw yan. Hindi to kombatan. And yet, ganun yung ginagawa nila. And to justify it, ay yung nanlaban na narrative ang kanilang ginagamit.
As far as the cases of Manny Asuncion and the spouses Evangelista, there was already an initial report issued by our Region 4A office. And based on their observation and based on their interview, there were no signs of gunfight. So I could say that to you because there was already an initial report.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so for both of you, we have a president whose favorite order is kill, whatever the context of kill. What kind of atmosphere, come on, Attorney Jazz, how does this tie in with the rush of killings? Na parang, how does this encourage killers, or how does this actually fuel violence against legal activists?
Yeah, more or less because they are being red tagged. So this actually fuels violence. There's a culture of impunity, culture of fear now here in our country. Aside from yung itong nangyaring 9 killed, it came to my mind as the then regional director. You remember yung 2017, yung one-time big-time operation sa Bulacan? Area ko noon yun, wherein 32 were killed. Activism is not terrorism. Yun ang nangyayari. Kaya ang dami hong petition ngayon na kine-question yung anti-terrorism law sa Supreme Court. I think NUPL is one of the petitioners, and the Commission on Human Rights actually filed an amicus brief regarding that because we are also, in a way, our stand is masyadong broad yung definition ng terrorism doon. So, sana naman itong ating gobyerno, it is the supreme duty of our state to protect the life of its citizen. Sana gumawa siya ng mga estratehiya, mga measures really, kasi we've been urging them, pleading to them na may mga measures, especially itong sa insurgency nila yung NTF-ELCAC. Marami na, di ba yung sa ating mga human rights defenders, they are being red tagged. So, ang dami yung pumupunta dito sa Commission on Human Rights because of this. So, I just hope our government would listen. Ang dami niyang international and domestic commitments, and yet, we do not see on the ground the reduction of violence. They should have high regard for the right to life of the people of this country. And they should have measures in place, especially yung sa insurgency nila under the NTF-ELCAC.
Okay. Attorney Ray, ano ang culpability ni Rodrigo Duterte in all these killings? Some people say he's joking, but like from your end, ano yung culpability?
Ganito po. When the president speaks publicly, with the seal of the office of the president embedded dun sa kanyang rostrum. We're not expecting to hear jokes from him. We expect him to issue policy pronouncements. when he said kill, 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 that's not a joke, that's a policy pronouncement. In the same way that when during his inauguration, he said maglulunsad siya ng bloody war against drugs. Policy pronouncement, and in fact, hindi na hinintay ng PNP na magkaroon ng written memorandum of the President. They immediately issued the following day yung kanilang Tokhang program. So, ganun po, when he said, kill, 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 napakadelikado po yun. At bigyan din natin ng context na ang tinitignan mo dito, yung security sector na trigger happy. In fact, hindi lang naman yung ginagawa sa aktivista yan. Even before Rodrigo Duterte, ay marami nang pinapatay at ang kanilang convenient excuse, yan ay members yan ng NPA. Ngayon, with that pronouncement, lalong na-embolden yung ating nasa security forces dahil tinitignan nila ito as a license for them to kill. Pero yun nga, since it's a public pronouncement, inutos niya to kill, 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 nagbigay siya ngayon ng ebidensya against him. No? Now, we can now connect him to the killings na nangyayari doon sa ground. For example, itong siyam na namatay noong March 7. Ano to, may violations dito. So he can be held responsible for that because those operations were carried out in pursuant to an order issued by the President to kill, kill, kill. Ngayon, hindi pwedeng gawing justification against armed combatants lang daw yan. Pero they have been red tagging these activists as terrorists, as communists, and they have considered them. Yung red tagging kasi it's one way of lumping non-combatants with the combatants. Kapag nilump mo yan yung non-combatants with the combatants, kung ano yung rule applying to combatants, mag-apply din sa kanila. So they become sa paningin ng security sectors ay legitimate military targets. So, ganyan yung nangyayari. So, binigyan mo ngayon ng justification ng pagpatay ang extrajudicial killings to a presidential pronouncement.
Maraming salamat sa inyo, Attorney Ray, Attorney Jas. We've got a lot of things here. Thanks for giving us your time.
Opo, salamat po. Stay safe po.
Suma total. It's very clear. Sabi nga ng CHR at sabi ng NUPL, walang karapatan ang mga law enforcers, ang mga sundalo, mag-hold ng katawan ng mga bangkay ng mga nasawi nila sa operasyon. Wala silang karapatan na mag-demand one-on-one sa mga pamilya. No? Nakita natin na hindi lang ito ang unang beses where they told on releasing the body. It has been a pattern as well as it has been a pattern to withhold information on the cases that need investigation. Ano yung dahilan ng mga ito? Sinabi rin ng ating mga kasamahan that one of the primary reasons is to deny those seeking justice what they deserve and to shield abusive law enforcers and soldiers from accountability. Hindi ito isolated incident. Sunod-sunod na ang mga kaso kung saan hindi lamang pinapaslang, hindi lamang extrajudicial killings, kundi ang pag-adlang ng mga pamilya para makuha yung bangkay ng minamahal nila at para makahabol sila para sa justisya. But it shouldn't surprise us in the time of Duterte, the killings have always been accompanied by a systematic use of the law and the systematic violations of the law to deny justice to Filipinos and to ensure that the minions, the deadly henchmen of this tyrant are shielded from accountability. As both say, it is not enough to rely on laws or investigations. Over and above that, Filipinos need to assert their rights. Hanggang sa susunod po na episode, ito si Inday Espina-Varona.